Hi everybody, I'm going to be showing you in this tutorial how to put in a centered zip on your garment. So the first step that I've done is I've gone ahead and measured the length of my zipper where I want it. So let's say this was the top of the skirt, for example. I would place it where I want it, and then I'm going to mark right below the zipper stop. And I'm using a metal zipper, so it's really important that it doesn't go anywhere near that metal zipper when you're trying to sew over it. We're going to be using your standard your standard machine foot for the first part of this application. And the first step we're going to do is put the fabric right sides together. My X means wrong side. And I'm going to base from the top of my machine base, from the top of my garment to my marking, which is the end of my zipper stop. So you're going to go ahead and put a, I don't know, maybe a size 3.5 stitch. And you don't want it to be like a gathering stitch, but you want it to be big enough that you can take it out after. And then you're going to go exactly on your seam allowance. You don't need to back stitch. And we're just going to stitch. And I'll double check the stitch length to show you when we get to the end. So see, that's a pretty good stitch. It'd be easy to take out is all. That's the main thing. So I'm not going to backstitch there. I'm going to continue like 2 stitches past, or maybe 3 stitches past my red line, and now I'm going to change my stitch length back to the standard stitch length that you normally would sew at. And here I am going to go 1 or 2 stitches forward and then backstitch to that red line. And now I'll continue at my regular seam allowance. And then just backstitch at the end. Okay. Now the next step we want to do is press our seams open. So I'm going to just make it easy, like you've probably seen if you saw my other videos. I just use this little tool. Bring the camera up a little bit. And press your seams open with your iron. I said I'm using this, but for muslin this works just fine. I'm going to do it all the way up to where your machine basting stitches were. Okay, and then my next step now is I'm going to lay my zipper, where's my basting stitches, over my open seam allowance. I'm going to double check where I ended with my red mark. That's good. And you're going to put in a few pins. You're going to go through all the layers, the seam allowance, and the zipper tape, and the garment. You can fast forward through this next few seconds as I'm just going to be pinning. Notice I'm pinning at an angle, so that I'm not, if I pin this direction, if I was to pin this way, I end up with like more of a bubble and it could affect the positioning. So I recommend that you just do a little pin at an angle like this. And I'm centering, I'm sure I said that, you're going to center this tape over that seam as best you can. So now I'm going to go ahead and hand baste my zipper down. Starting right at the zipper stop. And I'm going to just do it somewhere between the middle of the tape and the edge, because I'm going to be stitching about a little bit of ways from the edge. This is not an invisible zipper, so it's not going to be right on the tape. So it's better to have it maybe even closer to the edge, because you're not going to be stitching there. So hand baste both sides. Again, you can fast forward now if you'd like. Or or you could just watch me. Kidding. So I'm going to continue all the way to the top through the zipper tails at the top. Now I'm going to do the other side. Almost done. So I don't know, you can probably time looking on the video how long this took me, but maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and this will save you a lot of aggravation as far as the application of the zipper and having it line up and not shift on you, because if your zipper isn't hand based, it may just start to shift just ever so much, and when it gets to the top, it's not in line with your waistline or back neckline or wherever you're applying it. So now I'm going to go ahead and take out my other foot. This is the foot that has the 2 holes, one on the left and one on the right, right? So your needle's going to be either going on the left side or the right side. Snap off this foot. And you're going to decide which side you're going to sew on. Like this. Or over here like this. So when I'm going to start with this side. So that means I'm going to sew with the foot as close, the hole in the foot as close to the zipper side, the zipper tape. So I'm going to suggest, I'm not going to sew at the top because you're going to probably put those into your garment. So I usually start just a little bit above the zipper pull. Put my hand crank my needle down. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch about, for me, about a, whoops, hold on, the pull got in the way. I'm going to keep it kind of out like about 1/4 of an inch away. And in this case, it's kind of rolling on my edge of my foot. If you're using the industrial sewing machines, the foot looks pretty similar, and the process is exactly the same. The regular foot is just too wide, and you'd be really close to the outside edge. Now, when I get down towards my zipper stop, I'm going to go slow, and then maybe stop here, where I know that when I go across, my foot is meeting very close to that edge, but I can't go any closer than that or my needle will break. So I'm going to hand crank this across. And then pivot with my needle down, and then just come back up. Now it does get tricky up here. This has a pretty wide zipper, decorative zipper pull, so when I first started, I didn't account for that, and it's probably gonna look a little crooked there, but see how it moves a little bit? And so I'm just gonna go here and go backwards. And now you can see this is the bottom, right? And then it should be pretty even all the way up to the top, except for where I made that little mistake right there. Okay, so now you can go ahead and remove your basting stitches. Yeah, the ones for the zipper first. And our bottom seam is already closed because it was all in one operation. So the only thing we have left to do for this is to open our basting stitches. You can also hand baste these if you have like delicate fabric that you don't want this, you're afraid there'll be like some holes left in it. So I'm going to go ahead and with my seam ripper you notice I use the seam ripper like this. This does have a specific way to use it. You have the ball at the bottom and you can gently go like this. Don't get nervous, you're probably wondering why I did it like that, but okay, we'll take all those threads out later. But now I can check make sure my zipper works. Some threads in the way. Okay, and pull the zipper back up. And this is, so the zipper is not exposed because the fabric literally would meet and cover it, but you're still going to see that there's a zipper there, right? So this is a pretty decorative zipper, so I don't mind if you see a little bit of that. But it's definitely, because we basted the stitches first, we know that it's going to line up perfectly and nothing's going to shift on us. And that's it for your centered zipper. Oh wait, let me show you the back. Right? I went right below the zipper tape, and then the reason I also had you not sew these down is because typically in a garment you would fold them back like this, like that this was a jacket for example, and you would stitch them down like that. So you just leave them up until you decide how you want them to go into your waistband or your neckline. But that's about it. Thank you.